Episode 9 of Smoke begins its finale with Michelle at home reflecting on what she's done. The fire that's ripped through Stephen's house has absolutely obliterated the place. Stephen has been charred black, while the rabble of the arson-cased investigating team are outside waiting. Pearson is the one overseeing matters, and she recognises Ezra as the fuck up. All of their investigative material is being handed over to Pearson here, who's going to take over from here on out. Michelle shows up at the scene and keeps her sunglasses on to hide her eyes. When Harvey reveals the bad news about Stephen, she feigns shock, but there's a bigger problem at foot. It turns out Michelle has overlooked the fact there's a camera pointing right at the captain's house. Now Pearson is a woman possessed, determined to find the person responsible for this fire. This rattles Michelle, who rings Benji and urges for his help in dealing with the camera problem they have. One person watching the news and shocked by all of this though is Dave. He realises he's about to be framed for this arson attack and wants Reba to cover for him. However, she refuses to do so, and that means Dave needs to find a solution to this problem on his own. Dave shows up to see Harvey next and demands his car be returned. He's quick to point out that he's not responsible for Burke's house fire, but that's not going to fly with Englehart. He knows Dave is responsible for what happened at Old Sully's and refuses to acknowledge Dave's threats, who promises that he'll take Harvey down with him. That's obviously not going to fly now, especially after Harvey's confession last episode to his daughter. When Michelle shows up, things don't get any easier, especially when they get reports of a huge fire having broken out in the area. This is a knock-on effect from Michelle's hasty arson attack, which winds up spreading like wildfire and causing serious damage. The main culprit is the sawmill, which catches light and causes absolute devastation, shown in shockingly awesome detail through a single tracking shot. Dave though sees this as an opportunity to play the hero and races up there to get a better look with Michelle. On the way, Dave reflects on the first fire he ever laid his eyes on when he was 12, seeing the beauty in the madness. Now Michelle's past has obviously also been influenced by fire, and although she doesn't see it in quite the same majestic beauty as Gudson, she also doesn't hate it. Dave puts his foot down on the accelerator and races into the heart of the forest fire, and Michelle pulls out a gun demanding Dave stop, and he eventually does just that by crashing the car. Michelle survives the crash and stands in front of the car, firing wildly as Dave manages to evade all the shots. Michelle is enraged and, after beating Dave up a little, looks set to shoot him in the mouth. However, she stops when the heavens open and it starts raining, eventually deciding to arrest him instead for reckless driving and endangerment. The police have also got a perfect match on a glove Michelle left at Burke's house too, framing Dave and making herself look like a hero as the entire station watched Gudson brought in for his arrest. The only person Dave Gudson is willing to open up to is Michelle though, which could well be because he sees some of that same darkness in her too. It's almost like an unwritten rule with these arsonists, or those who have brushed up against pain, that they see that inner demon. We saw this with Freddy earlier in the season, and it's a nice way of tying all of this together. Michelle is in danger of cracking a part of the seams though, given she's seeing Stephen's ghost. During the police interview, Dave Gudson stands his ground and pokes holes in Michelle's version of events. He brings up the fire from her past, the erratic nature of her actions, and the thin shred of evidence coming in the form of leaving a glove at the back of the property. The Hancock fire appears to be the smoking gun that Michelle uses here though, and she brings this against Gudson. Now Gudson did investigate that fire, but he listed the cause as inconclusive. His actual method is detailed in his book though, which matches an independent investigation carried out by Hancock's PIs at the time. Dave laughs it off though and continues to cling to his innocence, pointing holes in all of this and the people who could have spilled the truth out in the open. Dave soon turns it around when things get a bit too personal and pokes fun at Michelle's history, including how her mother tried to burn her alive. While this is going on, Benji manages to get hold of the video footage from Stephen's house and deletes the footage after copying them across to a thumb drive. Ezra is determined to nail Gudson here, and they find the evidence they're looking for in his car. They find the hat, sunglasses and trench coat used for the arson attacks and realise they can get their man. Presented with the evidence, Dave's thin smile starts to waver. We then cut back and see exactly how Dave has reframed all of this in his own image. As far as he's concerned, he's a hero and has been working to stop the arsonist in a sort of out-of-body experience. The penny drops and he realises that he's far from innocent. He looks in a mirror and sees his real reflection, and he's no longer the suave, good-looking guy from before, but a balding, middle-aged man. As he looks at Michelle, he tells her he knows who he is, and the pair stare one another down as the season comes to an end. So Smoke comes to a close with a solid and unnerving ending, one that leaves plenty of loose threads ready for a potential second season, which at the time of recording hasn't actually been greenlit. The show hasn't been completely smooth sailing though, but it does have that engaging cat and mouse feel to it that made shows like Mr. Mercedes so endearing. Michelle is unfortunately a super unlikable protagonist, and it's difficult to really rally behind her here. By the end, she's just as much a crook as Goodson is, given she killed Stephen. Maybe she didn't mean to, but the manner of covering up the murder could prove to be fatal going into a second season. It could well be that Benji has kept that footage for himself to use as leverage, although personally I think a more intriguing twist would have been for Pearson and the others to find that footage themselves. They then could have used that to pin Michelle for all the fires, while Goodson gets off scot-free. This could have set up a tale of revenge and desperation on Michelle's part as Englehart works to free her and find evidence to take Goodson down and right the wrongs. Still, what's here is still engrossing, and the show has done a pretty good job in keeping things interesting until the end. It's certainly far from perfect though, and a lot of that stems from the characters more than anything else. Despite that, there's enough in the tank to make for a solid watch. Roll on a potential season 2. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.